Hello and welcome to another Home Time Art Challenge with Mrs. White. This video is a demo from my own personal project in response to the artist read-along that I did earlier this week with the artist Kasama Yayoi. She was the one with all the dots. So remember, if you watched that video at the end, I challenged you to come up with a shape that kind of inspires you and repeat that shape over and over and over and over again to create your own artwork. So I decided to combine Take It Outside Tuesday with this activity, and I drew my backyard. So you saw me sketch out what I saw first with pencil. That's always a good idea, right? Draw a light till you get it right. That's what Mrs. White always says. Then I decided to use markers. Spoiler alert, markers are not Mrs. White's favorite medium, in case you haven't noticed. I love to blend colors. I love to have different values. So I'm just really not great with markers. But I decided to go outside of my comfort zone because that's what good artists do, and I grabbed some fun markers. I was lucky enough to at least have markers that had a bunch of different colors, so that made it a little bit more fun for me. So without further ado, you will see I started with my sky, my swirls. I made my trees swirls. I made my fence swirly. I made the bridge that you can see from behind my house swirly. And then I started adding all kinds of fun different swirls around. Now, you may be sitting there looking at this thinking, Mrs. White, this does not look anything like Kasama Yayoi's paintings. And you would be right. Because I decided to use my own shape. Instead of using her dots, I thought I really like swirls. Do you know what's funny about that, though? What does this remind you of? Anybody remember the lineup game that we play where Mrs. White says, Vincent, and you say, Van Gogh, and you make swirly motions with your arms? Do you remember that painting that is hung up by Mrs. White's doorway to remind you of that game? This looks a lot like that, doesn't it? So, funny story, I guess when we talk about our line game and we say that all artists kind of have their own style, when I combined my style with Kasama Yayoi, it kind of turned into a more Vincent van Gogh inspired artwork. So that was kind of fun. All art is connected, just as all people are connected, so why not? I think it turned out pretty darn cool. So now I got the fun part done. I could have stopped here, right? That's one thing we always talk about with art is when to know when you're done. So I could have been like, you know what? That's pretty much what I was envisioning in my head. But I thought, you know what? I still have a lot of white space. And Kasama Yayoi liked to cover or obliterate that white space, right? Do you remember her obliteration rooms where she set up the white rooms and gave people stickers and people were supposed to obliterate the room with the dots? So get rid of the rest of the room with these beautiful colorful dots. So that's what I decided I wanted to do. I wanted to obliterate my scene with the swirls. So I just kept on going. I added some more black in there to give some nice shadows, some nice low lights, and I filled in that sky, kind of Vincent van Gogh, Kasama Yayoi style. Same thing with my trees, right? I could have stopped with just green or even just dark green and light green, but I went back and I added some browns, I added some yellows, I added some black. I just kept on going, and I think that's the fun part about this particular piece. So it is hard. Sometimes you can go too far, but let's try to push ourselves a little bit for this one. I cannot wait to see what you guys have come up with. Don't forget to upload it to Artsonia so that you can be entered in our weekly drawing for free art supplies sent from Amazon. And I will see you again soon. Have a fabulous week. Oh, and if you've become the Kasama Yayoi fan like I am going to give a link to a clip where she gives advice to young artists. It is in Japanese, so there are subtitles. The younger ones might need somebody to read those for them. And I'm also going to include a clip of an obliteration room time lapse that shows the obliteration room being transformed or obliterated from the white room to